I'll take care of this one.
Hello, Hot Pants. I don't suppose you have a driver's license tucked down in there somewhere, do you?
Fasten your seatbelt, because the real drama behind the Cannonball Run flies past anything the cameras ever caught. From angry protesters to backstage fires, this film sprinted on chaos and pure nerve. Number 1, the race that broke every rule. The story was born not in a Hollywood office, but on an American highway. In 1971, magazine writer Brock Yates teamed with racing legend Dan Gurney for a coast-to-coast sprint that broke every posted limit. They charged from New York to California in a wild 36 hours. Their reason was bold. Washington had lowered speed limits during the early energy crisis, claiming slower travel would save gas and lives. Yates and Gurney said experienced drivers could travel fast without danger. They packed spare fuel, maps covered in secret notes, and a radar detector the size of a lunchbox. State troopers tried and failed to catch the roaring Ferrari. When the pair rolled onto the Santa Monica Pier, reporters gasped. The duo waved a battered gas receipt as proof of their blistering time. The press nicknamed the stunt Cannonball after record setter Irwin Cannonball Baker, who ripped across the nation on a motorcycle 50 years before. Their reckless victories sparked legend. Between 1971 and 1979, 5 more illegal dashes tore across the country. Word of mouth turned rest stops into secret gathering points. One year, pilots in a twin-engine plane flew above the racers and radioed warnings about police traps. Another year, a husband and wife drove a red Ferrari while pretending to be newlyweds on a medical mercy trip. Speed was king and rules were jokes. Crowds loved the rebellion. News stations tried to condemn the events, yet ratings jumped every time they aired footage of headlights slicing through night at 150 miles an hour. Parents scolded teenagers who bragged about joining the next run, yet those same parents could not change the channel. The outlaw race became myth before Hollywood wrote one page. Number 2, the mastermind sneaks onto the screen. Brock Yates could not stay away from the set. He begged director Hal Needham for a walk-on role, and Needham agreed. In one scene, Yates stands near the starting line holding a clipboard, stopwatch ticking. He nods once, signaling the race can begin. Moviegoers see a casual extra, but insiders know that Tiny Nod launched the first illegal dash 8 years earlier. Yates loved the Easter egg. During breaks, he told cast members harrowing tales of dodging patrol cars, sneaking through toll booths by tailgating trucks, and changing license plates in motel parking lots. Burt Reynolds listened with his jaw open. Dom DeLuise clapped like a kid at fireworks. Studio publicists later begged Yates to hush the wilder details, fearing lawsuits, but he kept spinning stories anyway. Many newcomers on set had no clue the official-looking extra was the outlaw mastermind. One costume assistant finally asked, "Which talent agency sent you?" Yates just laughed and said, "The Open Road did." The answer left her speechless. Then she ran off to tell every department. Word traveled at lightning speed, and by lunch break the entire crew lined up to shake his hand. Number 3, the battered ambulance with a flaming past. That dented Dodge ambulance is no fiberglass replica. It is the 6,700-pound beast that Yates and Needham actually piloted in the final real race in 1979. They ripped out the back seats, installed extra fuel tanks, and fitted a hidden switch that killed the rear lights so no one could follow. A buddy pose as Dr. Nicholas Van Helsing, stethoscope dangling, fake medical badge ready for inspection. The back held a stretcher, oxygen bottles, and a dummy passenger wrapped in blankets, ready to groan on command. Police cruisers gave way while the siren wailed. Near Palm Springs, disaster struck when the temp gauge spiked and flames shot from the hood. Needham hurled sand onto the fire, while Yates poured water from a melted ice cooler. Minutes later, they roared back onto the highway smelling like smoke and victory. When cameras rolled 2 years later, the ambulance still bore scorch marks. Mechanics begged to repaint it, but Needham said no. He wanted every dent to wink at the audience. Watch closely, and you can spot a blackened patch near the right fender where the fire once blazed. Crew jokes claim the van was the only cast member that did all its own stunts. Number 4, the star who signed on, then cringed. Burt Reynolds wore a million-watt grin Yet behind the scenes he frowned. He later joked that signing the contract was the dumbest thing I ever did for money. Yet friendship trumped out. Needham had guided Reynolds through dangerous stunts in Smokey and the Bandit, and Reynolds felt he owed him a favor. During shooting, Reynolds rolled his eyes at the slapstick jokes and complained the plot made no sense. He even tried to sneak tiny rewrites into his lines to add heart. Needham teased him, promising an easy paycheck and worldwide laughs. Reynolds shrugged and did the scenes. Then came opening weekend. Box office cash thundered in. Teenagers lined up around blocks, honking toy horns and wearing fake mustaches like Reynolds. Critics groaned, yet the public cheered. Reynolds could not escape the movie he nearly walked away from, and the rebel racer persona became glued to his image forever. Decades later, fans still quote his lines at autograph shows, and he still winces every time they do. Number 5, the leading lady lost in a comedy she never saw coming. Confusion swirled elsewhere too. Farrah Fawcett signed on expecting a sweeping romance across gorgeous highways. On day one, she stepped onto the set and found Dean Martin wobbling in priest robes, glassy-eyed and giggling. Sammy Davis Jr., in matching collar, traded jokes with crew members. Fawcett blinked, unsure if it was rehearsal or prank. Scenes unfolded in wild bursts. One moment she delivered serious lines about freedom and love. The next moment, Martin and Davis hijacked a golf cart screaming, "Bless you every mile." Fawcett tried to stay poised, thinking the comedy would be trimmed in editing. Nobody clued her in. The truth exploded during premiere. The theater shook with laughter, popcorn flew, and Fawcett sat frozen until the credits rolled. Then she laughed too, realizing her straight performance made the madness twice as funny. Her confusion became comedy gold, earning her more fan mail than any dramatic role she had done so far. Number 6, a Priestley prank that saved the day. The production team thought they had everything locked down when Don Rickles signed on. Then Rickles bailed days before cameras rolled, and panic hit the set like a tire blowout. Without a funny man, the story sputtered. So phones rang until Sammy Davis Jr. answered in the middle of the night. Sammy said yes before reading a page because he loved to dare, and he loved Dean Martin even more. He showed up laughing, slipped into priest robe stitched a size too big, and turned the role into pure sparkle. Sammy's quick wit flowed like jazz, tossing one-liners, little dance steps, and smooth vocals that bounced off Dean's dry humor. Their timing felt natural because they had shared Vegas stages for years, and that easy rhythm beamed through every frame. Viewers saw the genuine joy in Sammy's eyes and the way Dean's grin widened whenever Sammy fired a surprise gag. Reporters later wrote that the whole picture gained an extra charge the minute Sammy cracked his first joke, and they were right. What started as a crisis became a masterclass in lightning strike casting that no agent could have predicted. Fans mailed letters raving about the duo, and drive-in theaters reported cheers whenever Sammy's priest blasted through a roadblock. Even today, film blogs rank his surprise entrance among the top scene-stealing moments in comedy history. Number 7, real drinks, real laughs, real mayhem. Many movies fake alcohol on camera, but Dean and Sammy thought fake booze tasted like dishwater, so they poured real scotch into their cups and let the good times roll. The laughter you hear in the final cut is not scripted. It is genuine giggles sparked by inside jokes only old pals understand. At one point, Dean tried to bless the race car instead of the driver, and the entire crew collapsed in hysterics. Yet Hal Needham yelled, "Keep rolling." By trusting the chaos, Hal captured a wild energy no writer could duplicate, and the audience could sense that electricity. Film historians often cite these scenes as proof that perfect chemistry can beat perfect planning every single time. Strangely, the looseness never tipped into sloppiness because decades performing live had taught both men how to land a punchline even after a sip too many. The lesson was clear. Sometimes letting artists play creates gold that polish alone can never reach. After hours, the same energy spilled into a hotel bar, where cast and crew sang old standards until sunrise. Those late-night jams tightened bonds and spilled fresh jokes into the next day's shoot. Proof that authentic fun can fuel on-screen magic. Number 8, the spoof that rattled the spy empire. Roger Moore slid behind the wheel confident that a tiny cameo parody would be harmless fun. He strutted, flirted, and flashed a famous eyebrow, acting like a billionaire who only imagined he was Britain's top spy. But the keepers of the Bond crown were furious. Executives at MGM feared that even a single joke could chip the granite cool of their money-making franchise, so they clamped down hard. Within weeks, a new rule echoed through agent contract that banned any hint of parody, while actors wore the famous tux. Moore later joked that he had crashed an invisible Aston Martin into studio pride. Yet he also admitted the uproar surprised him. The fallout proved that brand protection can swing a heavy hammer, and every Bond since has tread carefully because of that uproar. Number 9, a split second that changed safety forever. Fun screeched a horror when a stunt in an Aston Martin broke apart. The car lacked seat belts, and when it smashed a van, stuntwoman Heidi Von Belts suffered a broken neck that left her paralyzed. She was only 24. The disaster shocked Hollywood awake, and new safety checks and mandatory seat belts rushed onto every set. Heidi's pain became the price that saved untold lives in later shoots. Number 10. Hollywood mislabels a legend. Jackie Chan burst onto American screens ready to show off jaw-dropping moves. Editors hacked away his best fights, claiming they felt too brutal for a comedy, and the credits even listed him as Japanese. Jackie turned the insult into fuel. He vowed to control his future films and later smashed box offices with titles like Rumble in the Bronx and Rush Hour that used every skill he had. The slight that tried to shrink him actually sent him soaring worldwide. Number 11. No script, no problem. The crew joked that the only thing planned each morning was breakfast. Pages were typed on motel stationery. Actors memorized lines and make-up chairs. And by noon, those lines were already tossed for fresher improv. Farrah Fawcett often wandered onto set clutching loose sheets, while asking what we shooting, and still delivered charm. Hal Needham loved the dangerous, spontaneous comedy because he believed raw surprise felt more honest than polished setups. The absence of a rigid outline let big personalities collide like pinballs, sparking zingers nobody could have penciled beforehand. Cinematographer Michael C. Butler later said he kept extra film in the magazine because no one knew when the best gag would explode. The finished picture rushes forward like a party bus where everyone grabs the wheel for a mile, and that lawless mood became its secret sauce. Needham later told interviewers that he kept a small notebook of loose story beats and nothing more. He compared filming to a road trip where the map stays in the trunk, while the car follows whichever sign looks interesting. The success of that decision echoed in later hit comedies like Anchorman, which also trusted heavy improv, tracing their method right back to this wild romp. Number 12. The credit party that rewrote endings. When the last race shot wrapped, Needham faced a long credit scroll that felt dull, so he decided to fill the space with mistakes and laughter. Viewers had never seen stars flub lines in theaters, so they sat stunned. Then they laughed harder than they had all filmed. Families told friends you have to stay after the end because the funny part keeps going, and word of mouth spread like wildfire. Jackie Chan watched from the back row amazed, thinking Chinese audiences would eat this up, and he vowed to steal the idea. He kept his promise, sprinkling bloopers across dozens of later hits, each time reminding fans that craft and fun can share the same frame. Today, blooper reels feel normal, yet it was his reckless car chase comedy that rolled the first one down the highway of pop culture. Critics who stayed for the credits wrote glowing reviews about the blooper reel, calling it a second movie hidden inside the first. Soon other directors copied the trick, and test audiences began to demand a final laugh before leaving the theater. Strapping because number 13 proves the lawlessness on screen spills straight into real life. A Learjet roared across a field, so low it kicked up dust like a rocket. The crew never asked flight control for clearance, yet they kept rolling with grins wider than the runway. People below panicked and rang emergency lines. When the film hit theaters, the flight agency launched a tough probe that could have grounded everyone. Director Hal Needham shrugged and joked his rule was get the picture then beg forgiveness. The jet shot stayed in the movie and still shows how thin the ice was. Extra roar for this tale. Reports said the jet dipped under 500 feet, over farms breaking every altitude rule in the book. Fines almost drowned the studio before lawyers wriggled free with warnings. Now number 14 brings a blow that cut deep into Jackie Chan's pride. Chan joined hoping for a huge United States debut. Instead, the credits called him Japanese, and sliced through his Chinese identity. Editors trimmed his best kicks, saying they felt too fierce for a light romp. Jackie left the set hurt, but not beaten. He doubled down on English lessons, raised cash for his own films, and stormed back with Rumble in the Bronx and Rush Hour, where he owned every punchline. More heat here. Before Cannonball, he dazzled Asia with Drunken Master. Fans mailed angry letters over the mislabel, and the studio had to say sorry. Jackie used part of his pay to fund Police Story, where he slid down a pole of lights, proving he did not need big Hollywood backing. Number 15 races into Las Vegas, where a fake chase almost sparked a real lockdown. The crew ripped through the strip with sirens screaming, but forgot to warn real officers. Patrol cars boxed a set, and some workers ended up in cuffs yelling, "We have permits." Fines were paid, and paperwork tightened. No film since has hit Vegas streets without heavy notice. Add sparks. Casino cameras caught guests diving behind tables while slot machines kept ringing. The city forced a safety donation that bought new crosswalk lights, making the strip safer than before. Ready for number 16, where unstoppable laughter wrecked budgets but won hearts. Dom DeLuise could not keep a straight face. Burt Reynolds tossed one sly grin, and Dom burst into giggles that shattered take after take. Camera team started a betting pool on how long he could stay serious. Burt's real eye rolls stayed in the cut because they felt natural. Push the fun. After 10 ruin takes the director dare Dom to finish one pass with no smile. He cracked anyway and the set roared. Crew friendships from that day lasted long after rap. Finally, number 17 shows how this reckless ride steered the future of video games. Designer Yu Suzuki loved the film's open road freedom and built Outrun in 1986. Players sat in moving seats, drove a red Ferrari, and chased the horizon with sunny music pumping. No strict rules, only pure speed, just like Cannonball racers. Outrun smashed arcade records and inspired later hits, such as Need for Speed, that chased the same sense of bright rebellion. Boost the legacy. The cabinet tilted with every curve, and its beach roads, deserts, and snowy peaks mirrored the movie's coast-to-coast dream. Without Cannonball, many players might never have felt the joy of a digital road trip. Number 18, a double so good even the boss was fooled. Burt Reynolds owned one of the most famous faces in Hollywood. Yet on this set, nobody knew who was who. Stunt driver Roy Tatum matched Burt's build, grin, and swagger so perfectly that crew members saluted him like the real star, without blinking. Tatum even stepped into uniform as a patrol officer, and extras whispered, "Why did Burt change clothes so fast?" Because they could not see the difference. When Reynolds left a lot, Tatum filled shots with the same stride and hand-on-hip pose, keeping the schedule rolling while everyone else scratched their heads. In a movie packed with chaos, the wildest illusion was a man pretending to be a man who was already pretending.